Yeah, obviously I felt very fortunate being able to play at Croke Park. What a venue. I was there watching the huge game as well when Ireland beat England. It was the first game there. Was it 47-3 or something? And Shane Horgan took the ball over in the corner. And then to be able to play there the following year, I think it was the following year, the year after, again against England and against France in our home games in 2009, and played against South Africa and New Zealand in autumn series tests as well, I think. And that South Africa game, I can remember. I think Johnny Sexton got man of the match, and you could hardly see about 20 meters in front of you because the fog just came in, and like the fog came right down, and there was just this eeriness of like this unbelievably huge venue, like, and you could hear everything, but you couldn't see it all, and it was like something out of a Waking Dead or a horror movie or something. It was insane. The atmosphere was electric. We played terrible. Our set piece got absolutely home and hosed, but somehow we won the game. And yeah, it's an amazing pitch. Obviously, don't have a good memory of Scotland beating us there in the last game that we played internationally, and lost the Triple Crown to Scotland. Again, a kicker in Dan Parks who was brilliant that day and kicked over every single point that beat us by a couple. So, yeah, but I think walking into the change room, and obviously there's a lot more GAA lads fitting in the change room because the change room is huge, like it's massive, massive changing room, massive big showers. Like you're just walking around, just going, what? No, this is bananas how big it is. Considering I was used to the little small changing rooms at the old Lansdowne Road for my first cap, like walking in and you had the red brick like stacked up wall around the walls, and you're bumping into people every time you turned around to put on your shirt. So yeah, I can't wait for this game tomorrow. 5:30 kickoff, isn't it? Leinster Northampton. It's going to be a cracking occasion. 82,300 people sold out in what 48 hours or something like that. By all accounts, the tickets are like absolute gold dust. And hopefully Leinster are able to put on a show and give the crowd something to cheer about. I think the weather is going to be okay, hopefully as well. And yet again, Croke Park will stage a game that hopefully will be one for the ages, like we've seen in the past with the Leinster Munster games, with that Ireland England game that so many people talk about. So yeah, everybody's going to be tuning in, and if you've got a ticket, I'm very jealous. Reading a few headlines there during the week. Phil Dowson, who was a back row player for Northampton for many years, played against him a few times, and he's now the director of rugby in Northampton. I believe it's one of the S&C coaches or one of the backroom staff is Irish and has been involved in the Irish system at some stage or another. And he actually gave the lads a bit of a presentation, a bit of a history class on Croke Park, on what they're going to be walking into, the history of the Gaelic football, the hurling, the rugby, obviously as well. You know, what it means to be fan across all sports, to be able to attend it. The big occasions that have been there in the past, and this is going to be another one. And he sort of gave them a bit of a rundown of what it's going to mean to play there. And I think that's good for their psyche. Like, that's really good for their mentality to go in knowing what to expect. Well, of course, you're not going to know until you're finally there, but have a little bit of a glimpse of what it's going to be like, and get a feeling from somebody who knows the Irish system and has probably been there many times himself. So um, again, that adds a little bit of intrigue, doesn't it, to the weekend? Just these small little stories that are contributing to the narrative of what's going to happen in this game. Northampton are flying. They're top of the Gallagher Premiership. They have a loss last week, but still scored 30 odd points against Quins away from home. And they seem to be racking up a hell of a lot of points every game that they play. And with Leinster off the back of two defeats in South Africa, granted, we know it's not going to be the same team that's going to take the pitch tomorrow evening in Dublin. But it's still not good coming into a game off a couple of hammerings away from home, and the boys have really got to relish the opportunity to right a few wrongs that have been there in the last couple of weeks, and I fancy them to do that. Leinster have won 9 out of their last 10 meetings against Northampton, and I think 4 out of the last 5 semi-finals Leinster have won in the Champions Cup, and a couple of those have come from points margins of 19 points and above. So if I was leaning a few quid, I would probably be looking at Leinster to be very, very dominant. And, 15 to 20 points, I expect them to win. I just can't see Northampton pitching up in such cauldron and atmosphere and occasion, a landmark day in Leinster Rugby, how they can come to Dublin and win. I just cannot see it. And I feel like it's going to be a dominant effort from Leinster to get the big result. I wouldn't be in the slightest, really. I think after that La Rochelle win, I maybe said on with you guys and with Balls.ie and with Ladbrokes about how much they celebrated that win after the game. Like they were walking around, and I put out a few comparisons to what Ulster did in 2012 when we beat Edinburgh in that semi-final, and we were walking around as if we just won the Rugby World Cup. Now, I'm not saying Leinster were like that, but I think because they've been beaten by La Rochelle the previous couple of times in big games and finals, last minute wins, that it meant so much to them. And they really did rub it in their faces. Like, and why wouldn't you? Like, why wouldn't you do that? And then a different group of players went away to South Africa, and they get home and hosed 2 weeks on the bounce, and now it's all about getting a reaction, and from the same group of players that took the field in the Aviva against La Rochelle, and I think they'll get that. Listen, if I could rewind back the clock and my head coach turned around and told me, look, here's 2 weeks off, get back in the gym, let's do a lot of fitness work before you hit the ground running against Northampton in a semi-final of the Champions Cup, I'd jump at that chance all day long. I'd rather be feeling really fresh than coming off the back of a 2 week camp down in South Africa with a couple of beatings as well, and having to pick yourself up to go again against a Northampton team that are flying. So all these guys are going to be fresh, ready and round to go, and hopefully they do hit the ground running. Complacency. The only way they're going to be complacent is Northampton. Really, like Northampton have to play the best they've played all season long, plus another 10 points on their game, and Leinster have to be, firing at 80%. Their line out has to not function particularly well. The scrum, maybe they lose a prop early on. There's a yellow card in the game early on, or a couple of things just have to go Northampton's way, for them to hang in. It might happen, but I don't think it will. I think this is Leinster's year. I think we all want to see a Leinster Toulouse final, do we? I think fair play to the Gallagher Premiership teams have went really well so far in this competition, and even the Gallagher Premiership's been a lot better to watch this season than previous seasons, as is the URC. But a Leinster Toulouse final would be absolutely mouthwatering. So let's hope Leinster can get the job done. Yeah, like there's players in this Leinster team that will be playing here for the first time. Well, lots of them will be playing there for the first time, and they might never step foot on that soil ever again. Like, to play another rugby match. There is chat that they will maybe play a couple of games there when the RDS is getting revamped. But again, you just don't know. It's a special occasion to run out, and like I can remember sitting at 7, 8, 9 years of age, sitting watching the All Ireland, hurling final or the Gaelic football final with mum and dad on the sofa, and usually Tyrone were in thereabouts back in the day. Now Dublin are just ruling the roost every season, but like in just the crowds, the atmospheres, the big match day occasion, and then actually run out there and play a game of rugby, but have a very similar atmosphere and a very similar occasion. And yeah, it was just unbelievable. So these Leinster players have got to buy into that. They got to buy into how much it means. Like not only to obviously represent Leinster, but represent them in front of 82,300 people. There's going to be, geez, I wouldn't like to think how many people's going to tune into it as well. And it's up to you to go out and deliver. Um, you got to be selfish as well as a player. You got to make sure that every single carry that you make is going to be a good one. Every tackle that you put in is going to be a dominant one. Every decision that you make has to be close to the right one. And when 15, 23 players come together and they all put in really good individual performances, the collective comes as a team. It comes, and that's something that we've said consistently about Leinster over the last couple of seasons. So, and last point, go out and enjoy it. Go out and absolutely relish it and put on a show for those 82,300 people that'll be turning up.